Ba-ba-da-ba. Welcome to episode 4. Let's boot the game. No! Fuck. No. Task manager. Task manager, please open quick enough. Please. Performance, no processes. Oh god, no. BlueStacks. End. Kill it. Fuck, it's still starting. End. Kill it. No BlueStacks, go. Go away. Oof. Yeah, that's what I get for having two Fallout icons next to each other on the desktop. That essentially, I mean, they have different color schemes, but they are kind of similar. Anyway, I've changed some settings in OBS, and we're using about 8% instead of 2% for the encoding now on a black screen. So we'll see where this goes. Play. Also, I may have to go in 10 minutes or so this is shittily timed. And of course, fast loader failed. Oh no, there it is. Fast loader is a bit weird with what it checks for. I can hear the frame rate being high here and lower here. You can't really see it maybe, but I can definitely hear some coil whine from my graphics card. But yes, I forgot about the game and I left it on the entire night apparently, so that's why the playtime is a bit higher, but all of that has been processed. I did find 2 pieces of concrete here on the floor. I don't know how the fuck that happened, but what? Excuse me, what? Why was there a cigar box and a wrench on the ground? That's... oh well. Anyway, here's what we got. We have... ooh. Let's save up on those tools. Let's not destroy them, they are valuable. I did, however, also, I can do this for late game. If we want to reiterate the game, I did modify a mod so that we can craft tools. Yes, we can essentially turn 2 pieces of steel into 15 pieces, into 15 caps, which is some manufacturing, which is quite a profit. But we'll be doing that later, not now. That will just destroy the flow of the game. Maybe I should set up like a requirement that I'm not allowed to manufacture tools until the main quest is complete or something.
Huh?
Hi. And that's still there, of course.
Carla, back again? Time to do business?
I'll take a look, sure.
You break it, you buy it.
Beautiful faces. Let me minimize OBS and let me close my task manager and let me go to my streaming page and look at the quality for 2 seconds. It's decent. It's certainly better than what it was. Let's minimize that. We have no fusion core. I'm sad. How would I pay for it anyway? It would be like all my money. But also, another way to generate caps, which is completely legitimately in the base game, is by crafting lunch boxes. I don't know if I should restrict myself on that as well. I mean, that's how I literally broke my main save. I crafted, I think it was 40 lunch boxes, send them around on a conveyor, going into inventory to refresh them, and simply stand there AFK with a melee weapon, just hitting like this, just holding. That's not in the base game though, holding for melee weapons, that's a mod. And also another tool on the ground, what the...
Yes?
Oh well. Let's lighten our inventory. Hey, it's not that much we need to get rid of, I think. Let's make sure we don't have unnecessary crap like that. Be a buttercup. Store that for now. You don't need any of this. Actually, wait. I kind of fucked up there. First of all, take all that and we'll move it to here. We don't need no. Actually, purified water is kind of nice to just lump around on. Here, however, I want to get rid of those. Don't really use drinks really. And I don't really need to get rid of these because they weigh nothing. Anyway, let's go over here and pick up this cooking station. Actually, wait, what's over here? Nothing. Just don't hit tab when you're transferring stations long distances, because they'll teleport back and you'll be sorry. So, the only things we can make roasts. 3 of those, and that was all we could make. Shite. Why did I walk over here? I could just access it from... I don't know. I guess it's the way the game teached me. Oh yeah, I walked over there because I need to go away. And that's not what I wanted to do, but... No, in like that. Yeah. I'll only bring cooked food with me, I think. That seems like a fair limitation to make things interesting. What do we have? Nothing. Oops. Well, if we want more potatoes, we can just plant a bunch more. Let's do that. This is also a fairly good way to gain XP, apparently. I'm Batman. What do you mean tight plantation? I don't get what you mean. I'll leave a little walkway for them. So this, yes, it destroys all our potatoes, but it will give us many more every day, I think. If we have enough settlers. There we go. All potatoes have been planted. Now what I want to do... So, this episode we're basically doing settlement maintenance. So what we want to do now is get some Brahmin feed trough. And this is... might be a bit weird for you, but... fertilizer is very good to have. At least with the mods I have. And crafting ammo takes fertilizer. So, get some feed trough. And from there, I should be able to craft a recruitment radio beacon. Exactly. And that's now active. So, the reason why I built those feed troughs before the beacon is because you can really only get Brahmins from people bringing them to the settlements. So that just increases our chances to having it from the start. Yeah. If we go into the radio, we should have the, settlement recruitment beacon. Come on.
Attention Commonwealth residents. Are you looking for a safe place to settle? Home in on these coordinates. If you're willing to work hard, you can make the Commonwealth a better place.
If I lived in the wasteland and I received a transmission like this, I would stay away because I would be like, it's a trap! Or I would sneak up and... I don't know, would I sneak up because then they would be angry at me? I guess I would just walk right in the door, taking it as it comes.
Commonwealth residents. Are you looking for a safe place to settle?
That's enough of that, thank you very much. Yes, this will also require that we have enough beds. Yes. 2 people, excuse me, what? Since when? Furniture, beds. I need to build a little house for him. Oof. Let's see what prefabs we got. Small shack. Large shack? Where's the... The advantage of using presets is that it slows the game down less. Thank you, Bethesda. Oof. The other point is you get fucked with your customizability, but oh well. So, in here, I will place some beds. That's really what this is for, it's just a sleeping shack. Six beds. All food. 6 water. We need more water. We also need some more defense food soon. If you're gonna be filling up that bed buffer. Resources water, yes. Let's get some more of these. We might as well start a water farm while we're at it. It's not much, but it's something, and it's only gonna pay out every time we get here within a limited time, so it's really no use. It's, or well, it is a income, it's a use, but it's not really that exploitive as some of the other schemes that are available to me. That's grass swinging in the air through some concrete. Whoops. So who do we got? Sheffield and Guy.
Cummings is honest as honest work gets.
Hi.
I'd like to trade some items.
Sure thing.
What do you got? Not much.
Huh?
Hey, Carla.
You again.
I'll take a look. Sure.
Here's what I got.
Let's see if there's anything of value. Duh. Yes, I'll gladly take that for free. Wait, so stuff with a value of 0 I can literally get for free? Hmm. Maybe I should be using fragmentation mines and mines in general more often. That's an expensive pistol. That's why I don't like buying things from traders. It's just so expensive, everything. Even when you have some good perks. We are under 100 weight now, so I guess we should actually wait. Carla, wait. 0.308 and 0.38.
Yeah?
Carla,
Hey there. Trading?
I've got a few minutes to browse.
You break it, you buy it.
Let's see. Oh! That's a better deal at least. Fuck. It's something. There was another thing I was thinking of. I did have a... Wait. Oh yeah. Yeah, pipe bolt action rifle. Wait, 308. 38. They're both pipe rifle, but they use different... What? Why would they use different ammo? This confuffles me. So that's equivalent, but it won't matter. So I'm just gonna keep this sniper rifle then. Okay. Any other melee weapons? Nope. So with that in mind, let's check. Yeah, I guess we can go over here and continue with our west heading thing. It's making, or at least trying to make the load times variable. Like, if Bethesda properly did that loading async, it would take less than 10 seconds, but... Distractions. Oh well. Yes, that's 64, so... What's my inventory? 97? Okay, let's just go there again then. Oof.
Piece of candy.
Not falling for that again. What? So where are they getting... Where are people getting the electricity from? Like, I understand that people like this, like places like this Galleria has on-site generators, but this implies that a power plant is still up and running somewhere. Interesting. Anyway, it looks like our next visit might be a tower, or actually let's go to this factory, it's closer.
I did not hit her. Piece of candy.
This is not good. 17, water. Guess I could have some of that. I need right away. While I'm at it, let's go and take another water.
Hey, Visa,
I did not.
when will you die?
I did not hit her. I did not.
Cancel. Okay,
I did not hit her. I did not hit her. I did not.
Hey, Visa,
I did not hit her. I did not hit her. I did not.
let's use that water for something more productive than just sitting in my inventory. Oh! Quality game, Bethesda.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here.
Maybe it was because I'm on a rock.
I did not hit her.
Maybe it's because it's modded to hell.
I did not.
Up, 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 up! What? Did it fall? What happened? What just happened? Oh my god. Let's quick save before I get fucked by mine or something. Oh, there is something here. I think it's just red scorpions. Cockroaches. Red roaches, yes. irradiated. Can't be here forever. I don't have a power armor, so I mean I do have three or two fusion cores. But yeah, it's just red rockets, I think. Ooh.
Nice.
Some new fruits, I guess that's always nice. I'll just run around. Supervisor terminal. Now, Bethesda what? Like what? Okay. Anyway. Let's be a bitch about this. Let's not even do the game properly.
There we go.
Oh. Security door control, open door. Okay. After 34 days of being incident free, Lester tripped by the forklift while it was backing up. Now we're back to zero. Also, corporate made us put up all the remember your hard hat posters. Like that would have saved his life. Oh, he died. The company retreat is coming up in a... Yeah, the company retreat is coming up in a couple of weeks. Mr. Feld said it's mandatory for all employees, especially supervisors. I hate going to those things. It's bad enough having to deal with these people during the week. Now I have to pretend to like them for a whole weekend. Sometimes I envy Lester. Wait. Ah, Lester who died. A hazardous material inspector stopped in today and announced to check out our operation. I started to feel like he was getting suspicious of what has actually been going on around here. Jesus. I told Mr. Fell and he said if the inspector started catching on, we need to get rid of him. And it didn't mean ask him go away. Well, he caught on, so we had to get rid of him. If anyone finds out what we did, they'll put me away for life. So they killed the inspector. Now what was that door? That scared me for a bit. Oh.
Yes.
Fusion core. I think there should be...
Chocolate?
Shit.
Chocolate! Chocolate!
Fancy candy. Fancy candy.
Let's get out of here. Shit.
Piece of candy.
Why is there... Oh god, I need to get out of here.
Chocolate? 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 Chocolate?
Don't you touch me in this state. I'm almost a ghoul. And I can't loot these. Red X has worn off. What did that say? 1, 2, 4, 6. I'm over 6, so I can take 2.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Is that truck gonna go boom? I mean, it is on fire. There we go. That should do it. I mean, now when I think about it, it probably isn't the smartest thing to blow up a truck that's in a disposal shed. But there we go. Whoa. Oh. Yes, glowing red roach, I want that. It has nuclear material. Yay! I got nuclear material. Let's continue east. And seems like we forgot this little station here. Hup, 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 hup.
Ooh, piece of candy.
I mean, sure. Come on, fuck off. Also, that was one of the worst animations I've ever seen in this game. Oh, another lake. What's that? Do you know what that is? We do know what that is. We do not know what this is, though. So let's get over there. Without a walk. Up. Welcome to level 8. Yeah. I'll get to actually. I'll go to that farm first. Hey.
How's it going, friend? You're welcome to join us. Pull up a patch of dirt, stump, old tire, whatever suits you. Take a load off and stay a while. The good fellowship's on the house. The drinks are how I keep body and soul together. Can I get you something to drink?
Sure. Let me see what you've got.
My selection is a bit limited right now, but take a look.
Yeah. Yeah, why not? I can take a beer. And a carrot. How do I sit down? Can I just like sit down and be nice with these people? Have that beer and carrots. Uh, ah. Yay, carrot. Let's drink that beer. Yeah.
I'm glad you could make it out here today.
You said something there. No doubt about it.
Oh yeah. Really doesn't get any better than this.
Actually, I kind of feel these guys just sitting down, relaxing, talking crap, laughing, having a good time.
This is the life, huh?
Right on, brother.
You're in the groove now. No doubt about it.
Scavenger, scavenger, Real Staples, and me, and I'm also a scavenger. What do you have? Not much. What do you have? Each other. What do you have? Not much.
Keep thinking it's about time to pack it in. And then I think, why?
I couldn't agree more.
We'll have to do this again soon.
Well, I have to go, people. See ya. I'm wondering how far away is that farm? How far away is the farm? Let's sprint. That's not something we do usually. No. No. Fuck. Oh, fuck. I'm just gonna flee for now. I pulled way too many enemies on my tail. Okay, where are we? Oh, we're more to the east, so I guess we are progressing. Lynn Woods. What's this place? I've never been here. Oh. Something happened here, alright.
No way I could pick this.
No one.
Ooh, a piece of candy.
Nothing there now. What do you think?
Oh. What?
Pack it in, boys. There's nothing out there.
There you go. So there's 3 people here. I have 4 shots left. Actually, this is 2 people here now. And I have 4 shots left.
I'll find you.
Ooh, a piece of candy.
Show your face. Come on, I dare you.
Ooh, a piece of candy.
Really? I can't see anything, but I'm gonna drink 2 lots of water. That's unfair. You can shoot through the walls, but I can't. That's unfair. No ammo left. Convenient. It's gonna shoot through ammo though. Not really wanting that. I'm expecting one of these people to have a key. Also, I should put on that piece of leg armor that I never did. There you go. Ooh, pocketed. You say that's better, okay.
Ooh, a piece of candy.
Okay.
There we go.
Ah, new things to place. Yay. I guess.
Ooh, a piece of candy. Ooh, a piece of candy. Piece of candy.
There he is. No key. Let's that was master, wasn't it? Master, yeah. Oof.
Lock's really strong.
So I have to remember that or something, I guess. Go to Lynn Woods, they say. This steamer truck would be unlocked, they said. But I really love the looting, the way this engine renders objects in the world. It almost like there's no difference between static objects like this beam and actual loot, so you actually have to keep your eyes out like that. I mean, it forces you to be a bit. Oh, hold on. Okay. Huh.
That's it.
So, yeah. Hmm. Hmm.
Ooh, a piece of candy. You suck!
Sweet.
There we go. Hmm. Okay, let's orient ourselves. Northeast. Okay, there's. It's gotta be more to the east. That, for example. Even if that's just an unmarked location, it's worth looting. Okay then. Also yes, now we have something popping up here in the distance. I don't know what this is mostly. Seems like we went over here.
Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Got it.
Noise.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Um,
Ooh, piece of candy.
oh, please don't just stand there. Oh,
Ooh, piece of candy.
Who's there?
absolutely no one.
Hey,
Ooh, piece of candy.
Laser? Don't do this to me, please. Gunners.
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here.
Boom. Fuck it. Uh-oh. Ooh! I didn't save before, didn't I? Fuck. Fuck. Oh wait, it probably saved when I leveled up. Please save when I level up. Please. For the love of God.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Ugh. Yep. So that's kind of a bummer. I think it was a bit over there. Yeah. Just showed up on the map. On the compass, I mean. Ba-ba-da-ba-ba. That's a rock. Let's continue over here.
What the?
Seems to be some firefighting on that bridge. Let's check that out. Oh, scheiße.
Ooh, a piece of candy.
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here.
Raider. I mean, I won't be able to hit, so... I need to take him out first, though.
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here. Hey, Vsauce. Michael here.
Okay, okay, it's our action. Okay, there we go. You killed settlers, why would you do that? Well, they won't need that. You most definitely won't need any of that. Or that. And I'll take that, thank you very much. Let's save after that, because I'm paranoid. People are living... oh, they were living here. Oh, they died. They were raiders. Sad for them.
Piece of candy.
That's it.
Piece of candy.
Ooh. Robot model parts kit. I've never seen that before. Not in this game, I've never seen before. Ooh.
Piece of candy. Piece of candy.
Yeah. I wonder what that key was for. Definitely wasn't for this. Because then it would say unlock instead of just open. Looks like there might be more dead raiders on these catwalks. Okay. $152 of 235. It's not the best, but let's just enter and see where we go. Oh,
Got it.
nice.
Sweet.
I'm Batman.
Imports and exports for the plants. There's something here. But it don't seem to be very... rather have 5 extra care weight for now.
Piece of candy.
Movement detected. Curious hostile sensor.
Shit.
Odd. My scanners must be malfunctioning.
Why are there synths here? Where are they?
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here.
Oh,
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here.
did not know that.
Piece of candy.
Let's quick save, because... yeah. Where are they? Where's the synths? Where are the synths? Yeah, didn't I pick up... yeah, yellow flight helmet. That's cool. Oof. There you go. I was a bit confused by what was happening in the inventory for a second there. The terminal. Hmm. Sorry if I'm a bit silent. But sometimes, actually most of the time, you don't really need to say much, do you? I mean, white bottle. Huh. I mean, a picture says more than 1,000 words, right? Isn't that the case? I think I know where the sins are now. Bit dark, but
Piece of candy.
we'll manage. Hmm. There's oil on the floor. How did I not trigger that? Wait, is it that thing about floor traps? Then it was probably good I took that. In afterthought. So yeah, I think that sins are probably down here. Gruesome. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna have to keep the lights off here because I can feel we're closing in to where the sins are. I don't know, but it kind of just feels intuitive that light draws attention, so and noise as well, so let's not make too much noise. Ah, yes, there they were.
Is someone present?
Hello?
No. You saw nothing.
Overactive sensors. Nothing more.
Piece of candy.
Up. How are you standing right between there? Not. The fuck did you go? Oh, please don't go up to this here.
You suck!
Nice.
Batman.
And that's why you always check the boxes, because there might be something in them. It's a pretty long route they have if they're gonna take that long to come back up here again. Or, yeah, they are. That's a Generation 1 synth if I've ever seen one. Or two? I have no idea.
Contact detected. Possibly. Found you.
Whoa!
Damage.
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here.
Cancel that. Yes. Aid, drinks, water.
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here.
There we go. Ooh! Electrified baton. I want that. Take that. And he gets my baton. Institute pistol. Yay. Okay, that was hectic. Ow.
Ooh, piece of candy.
There's one more. Ow. My thumb is broken or something. Ow. I can't bend it. Ow, 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 ow. Ow, my thumb. Ow. 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 I can't use my thumb. Ow. Ow. Ow.
I am equipped with the most advanced Institute sensors available. I will find you. Scanning. Or whatever you are, I am down there.
An enemy may be utilizing
Please
stealth.
come out.
How interesting.
I do not exist.
Now I understand. You are hiding because you fear death.
Nice statement.
If they return, I will be ready. Hostile sensor reading detected.
Oh, that's a legendary. It's gonna mutate. Whatever the how the fuck does a machine mutate?
Ooh, piece of candy.
You cannot escape detection for long.
Duh.
Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here.
I'm not here.
I know you are still there.
No. I'm not here.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Whoa.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Fuck.
I am equipped with the most advanced Institute sensors available. I will find you.
I am no longer detecting an enemy presence.
Good for you. Ooh, that's the key.
Piece of candy.
And that was it.
Is someone present?
Nah.
Hello? Movement detected. Curious.
I was in error. No enemy detected.
There's so many sins.
Sensors indicating concealed organic life form appears to be nothing. Perhaps my sensors need calibration.
Don't go over here, don't go over here, don't go over here, don't go over here, don't go over here.
Piece of candy.
Nope, nope. Don't mind me.
Hostile sensor reading detected.
No, you're
The
lying.
sensitivity of my sensors clearly needs adjustment.
Yes.
Piece of candy.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here. When will you die?
Sensor anomaly detected.
Piece of candy.
The stealth thing seems to be working though.
Must be malfunctioning.
You cannot escape detection for long.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here.
Piece of candy.
I mean, I have 36 bullets.
Scanning.
This is kind of tedious.
They were wise to flee.
Yes, I fled. Oh,
Contact detected? Possibly.
I was shot in the face.
Or whatever you are, I know you are out there.
Overactive
Now I
sensors.
understand.
Nothing more.
You are hiding because you fear death.
It's so weird just standing here in a corner when there's clearly light on me.
Piece of candy.
Please come out.
Piece of candy.
No. I will sit here and exploit you, game.
Engaging your existence. Stealth capabilities. Fascinating. Damage. Repair.
Still in danger.
Your destruction is inevitable.
Piece of candy.
Where did you go?
An enemy may be utilizing stealth. How interesting.
Ooh, 2 shots.
Yes.
I know you are still there.
I am equipped with the most advanced Institute sensors available. I I will find you. Gone. Excellent. Movement detected. Curious. You cannot escape detection for long.
Undetected for long. No enemy detected.
They shot. They're clearly shooting at me.
Scanning.
No arms.
Detected.
Somewhere present. Hostile sensor reading detected.
One, two, three, four, five.
Sensitivity of my sensors clearly needs adjustment.
Yes, you're not just being destroyed by a god or something. Your sensor clearly needs adjustments.
You are hiding because you fear death.
I'm hiding because it's a superior strategy, you bongus. If you don't know where I am, you can't really shoot me.
Turn. I will be ready.
What do you mean if? I will return. Oh yeah, we were supposed to go down there and in there, but I just went up and around. I discovered something else, I guess. Let's go down to their level. Let's get up close and personal with these bastards. You want trace?
Nice.
Oh!
Ooh, piece of candy.
There you are. I have found you.
That's maybe a bit too close up and personal. Drinks.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here. Hey, Vsauce, Michael here.
Come on. What the fuck? Where did they go? He teleported or something? I have no idea.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here.
No. Finally.
Hey, Vsauce, Michael here.
Please stand Deception is impaired. Employing various tactics.
Oof. Well. Poison resistance.
Piece of candy.
And the electrified bats. Not that I need it, but it's nice to have.
Piece of candy.
An institute pistol, good to have. Trace, steel. Oh no. Oh no. Bethesda, no, no, no. Oh, thank God. Bethesda. There you go. Wow. Protectron. Get some more of that. I failed.
Sweet. Nice.
Powering up. Protectron on duty. Protect and serve. Protect and serve.
I like the Protectrons. They're a nice robot type.
Piece of candy.
Imagine the rotten fish smelling here.
Hello. Protect and serve. Why are you hiding? Combat initiated. Attention, citizens. You may now resume your normal activities.
Thank you, Protectron, Guardian. How many sins are there here?
Is someone present? Overactive sensors. Nothing more.
Won't be able to pick this.
Hostile sensor reading
Nice.
detected.
Permanently infringe 5% critical damage. That's not too bad.
I was in error. No enemy detected.
of candy.
The sensitivity of my sensors clearly needs adjustment.
Or do they? Da da da.
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here.
I'm still just caution?
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here.
How am I still just in caution?
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here.
I mean... Yeah, keep running towards me. Let's see, where do we... 68, 70, 71... I think he just sees me now, yeah. Come on, hit. Okay, statistically speaking, you have never seen me before. Isn't that also a truth?
Ooh, piece of candy.
Ah, pa 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 pa.
I will limit the pain I inflict, if possible.
This was less effective than I thought.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Oh, why did I drop one? Fuck.
Ooh, piece of candy. Ooh, piece of candy.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Nice, nice. Here we go. We're back here.
Ooh, piece of candy.
Movement detected. Curious. Is someone present?
9.
Appears to be nothing. Perhaps my sensors need calibration.
Okay, I'm gonna... Let's be over cucumbered and let's get up here. Let's get wrecked immensely.
Hostile sensor would appear during that stealth. Has failed.
Indeed. You reach level 9. I don't care, I need to slowly haul a bunch of loot away from these sins. Okay. I can level up twice. Well, if that's the case... More sneak? Fuck. Let's go with those. Danger, you say?
Gone.
Okay, weapons.
Piece of candy. Piece of candy.
It would appear my target has disappeared. Targeting sensors fully operational.
Piece of candy.
Suspect you must
Hey, Vsauce. Michael here.
Piece of candy.
There we go. Survived, barely. Now there's a bunch of shit that I need to dump somewhere. I think this ammo box is fine, so I don't want no automatics. Leave all of those. 220, there we go. Now we'll just get out the same way I got in, which is through the ladder. Oh wait, I forgot to check a thing. Cleared, yes. And with that, I will travel back to Sanctuary. Oh look, there's 3 people here now instead of just 2. Let's hope they brought a Brahmin. Brahmins are good to have. Yes.
Yeah?
Carla.
Need to pick something up? Road's pretty.
Let's see what you have.
Always happy to make a sale.
You have a fusion core! Woo! Wait, does that mean mine will sell for like 10? 60. What the fuck? That's some horrible pricing right there. Thank you, no thank you. No Brahmin. Oof. Should be a bunch of potatoes here though. Speaking of, given that they're free individuals here, my jobs for the unemployed. Assigned to farming. 1.
The farm's not much, but it's something.
This must be our new settler.
Just looking to trade a little.
Sure thing.
Let's dump all of this. Since components are pretty valuable, you might want to keep those for sale in the future. And there we go. And there should be a bunch of water here, if I'm not mistaken. So for water farming to work, you need to take out all of the water every time you get here, which can be a bit of a bummer. There we go. So what I'm gonna do to slightly automate that water farming is to linked maybe doing it for all settlements. That would be cool. But for this one, we're gonna extract and then put it straight into storage. So in here now, we transfer a single purified water and some of that other stuff. A melon, a mute fruit, because I know we got some of that. Actually, I'll let them. Oh. Still a single potato. Okay. Yeah, I'll only pull out the potatoes, and I'll let them live on the mute fruit and stuff like that. I don't know if that will stop the production of potatoes. It might. It might. Speaking of. Zip. Potato, purified water. Actually, I'll leave all of that and I'll see what builds up. I think that's a better way to do it. And just for fun, I'll throw in the potatoes in here and we can see them get transferred. So this is a little machine that basically takes from the inventory, from the workshop where the settlement makes its calculation, and just puts it in a storage where it's outside of its control. So it has to keep producing stuff so the settlement will survive. And this will also do some water farming for us. Not much, but it's something.
Thank you. It's like I can finally think straight.
Nice.
Seems to be growing well.
My back hurts, my feet hurt, everything hurts.
I gave up alcohol after settling down here. The doctor said I shot my liver.
Tommy's as honest work gets.
I might actually install a mod to make the NPCs shut up, because it gets quite annoying when the settlement gains in size. Well, we know for sure there's gonna be some mute fruits. And we know we have melon. Fuck it, let's add all of it. I know we have a melon. I know we have a mute fruit. That's about it, nice. It should do every other now? Because there's no... Oh yeah, there's still potatoes, so it will do melon, potato, mute fruit. Or it will... okay, whatever. There's the mute fruits. I don't know, it doesn't seem like it's round robin, but it seems kinda random. Huh. Yes, all of that will be stored in here. Melon. Is this done? What? No. That must have glitched or something, that can't be it. That's a bit worrying. I felt like that took way too fast. I don't know, there's something wrong with the recycling machine. Every once in a while, I don't know if it's time-based or if it's based on what you put in it, but every once in a while it will just say plop, and it would just reset its inventory. Even if there's 100,000 things in it, it would all just go poof. And I'm afraid that's what just happened there, actually. Oh well. Still don't have any ramen, which is kind of a bummer. But we shall survive. But we did some pretty neat map exploration today. Discovered lots of sites, which pushed us all the way to level 9 in a bit. Anyway, I think that has been enough for this episode, so thank you for watching, and I'll see you some other time.